This Power Rangers Beast Morphers episode review is intended for and targeted to adult fans of the series.
However, TV shows are planned months, if not years, in advance, so the show must go on. Hello there, heroes. I'm the Orange Ranger, and welcome to another Power Rangers Beast Morphers 2.0 episode review. We all know about the unfortunate viral pandemic making its way around the world right now, when what we really wish we had was some Olympic fever. The Summer Olympic Games were scheduled for this July in Tokyo, Japan, and the Olympic torch relay would be going on right now, if not for the virus situation. However, TV shows are planned months, if not years, in advance, so the show must go on. This episode was planned to coincide with Olympic hype, but now it's an interesting little outlier, a small reminder in the future of what was going on in the world when this episode aired. This is considered a Power Rangers sports special, Jackrabbit Zords, so it takes the episode 21 designation normally reserved for the Halloween clip show. So let's take a look at the 21st episode of Beast Morphers 2.0, Boxed In. Please make sure you're subscribed to the channel to see all of my videos. Ring that bell to get your notifications set up so you know whenever I post brand new videos. And if you'd like to donate financially to my channel, you can check me out on Patreon or Ko-fi. The episode begins with a news report by Ace reporter and Yellow Ranger mother Muriel Reeves on the Pan Global Games opening in Coral Harbor. To address the deep-cut continuity reference right now, the Pan Global Games are the Power Ranger World's version of the Olympics, and is a reference all the way back to Season 3 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers as the reason that Kimberly left the team. Mrs. Reeves ends her story by saying the only question is what to watch first, and the Rangers debate this as well. Except, not really. In fact, if this is the first day of the games, the only things going on are probably the opening ceremonies and maybe a soccer match. Besides that, the games are usually like 2 weeks long, and not everything happens at the same time. When you throw in the fact that there's gotta be a ton of TV viewing options, there's not a whole lot of debate in what to watch moment to moment. Besides, if you're trying to attend live and you don't already have tickets to a particular event, you're probably screwed, sorry.
Get on with it!
Where did I leave that Lysol? Anyway, Commander Shaw comes in and says that 3 of the Rangers need to conduct checks on the Morph X towers. Kind of seems like something you could have any of your regular staff members do, but anyway. Steel protests because the games are starting, but Shaw says their duties don't wait for current events. Devin agrees and says they'll get it done. Ravi asks who they is, and Devin says all 5 of them. If they split the work up, if it requires a team of 3, they don't have enough people to split this job up. They can get the work done faster and at least see some of the events, which, just to address it, are apparently all happening today at the same time, which is not how things like the Olympics work, but anyway. Ravi really wants to see the weightlifting, and I mean, he really badly wants to see the weightlifting, outright rejecting Devin's proposal, and instead suggesting that they draw 3 names out of a bowl so at least 2 of them can go see events normally. They do so, and Nate, Zoe, and Devin are selected. Ravi flips, super excited to be seeing the games, and Steel is also there. In the Crystal Dimension, Robo-Roxy thinks that the games are so pleb, but Blaze points out that the town and the Rangers will be distracted, and says he's got just the scheme in mind.
I've got it! Arson!
The first tower checks out, and it's now incredibly unclear why they need 3 people to do this. Nate is examining the tower via a tablet, and Zoe and Devin are standing behind him. This is really just explaining Sentai footage. But then they are attacked by Dumbbelltron. They call an annoyed Ravi and then morph. But Dumbbelltron gets the upper hand with small weight bombs and then tossing a large weight bar at them. They say that they can't get it to budge because it's hooked into their forearms and they're actually pushing down on it as much as up. Ravi and Steel show up, and Ravi goes off on this Robotron, basically throwing it all around the place and then destroying it himself. Yeah, completely destroyed. That's an easy session for the voice actor. He gets the weight off of the other Rangers and everyone demorphs. Ravi's hair gel has him feeling extra jerky today as he notices that he missed the first weightlifting event and asks if the other Rangers even really tried to defeat this thing before calling him. He says he's upset that nobody seems to care that he's missing the games. Devin says that it doesn't seem like Ravi cares about protecting the Morphex towers. Oh, hey, another returning face, and one that I've actually sorely missed. It's Pretty Girl McWhat's-Her-Face! And no, she still doesn't have a name. She reports that a Gigadrone is inbound and Commander Shaw orders a red alert, which I don't know if that's a thing at Greb Battle Force or anyway, but she calls the Rangers. Devin is almost back to the base on cruise, but the other Rangers are stuck in pre-games traffic. Wouldn't they be treated kind of like an ambulance? You know, hit the siren, it's an emergency, or you could maybe send a chopper to pick them up? Blaze and Roxy teleport into town and approach a building that's kind of tall with a big round top. I'm really not sure what it's supposed to be. It kind of seems like it's an arena that just has a really large bottom section. Anyway, they say it's perfect for their plans and inject Evox's virus into it. Yes, it seems like they're trying to create a Robotron out of an entire building. We'll see what comes of that. Prepare yourself, heroes, because things are about to get weird. Devin deploys the Racer Zord in battle mode and starts fighting Fork Drone. Actually, I think they call it Pulvidrone. Names are a little unweird here, but it is the Gigadrone that has a giant fork on its hand. After a few moments, the infected building sucks the Gigadrone and the Zord inside, and Devin finds himself in a Zord-sized boxing ring with the Gigadrone and an unseen WWE announcer. He contacts Commander Shaw and reports on this situation, rather dryly as a matter of fact. Typical Tuesday, I guess. The other Rangers show up but can't find a way into the building. Ravi can't even force the doors open with his gorilla strength. However, the building is nice enough to put a broadcast of the match on the outside of itself. Zoe suggests trying to break into the building using the Striker Megazord. Devin finishes off whatever the first Gigadrone was called with a clothesline, but then two more show up for a tag team match. Nate and Steel arrive with the Striker Megazord, but can't even shoot their way inside of the building. Inside, Devin does pretty well against the first Gigadrone, but then it tags out, and the second one starts kicking his Zord around. They go for some good old-fashioned cheating, one of them holding the Racer Zord from outside the ropes, while the other one just goes ham on it. Outside, another Gigadrone, Boxer Drone, teleports in. Nate and Steel have left their Megazord for some reason, but hit on the smart idea of grabbing onto the Gigadrone so they can be teleported inside when it teleports inside. However, the building spits them right back out and some Tronics attack. Zoe and Ravi activate Beast X mode, taking out a lot of the Tronics. As the fight continues, and full credit to the folks on Ranger Wiki for noticing this, although I'm sure I would have noticed it as well, there are posters on the building behind them for Levi Weston. It's a very cute little reference until you notice that the posters say, "Tonight." The best possible way that I could rationalize that is that maybe Levi is performing at the opening ceremonies for the Pan Global Games. Otherwise, there's absolutely no way that a city would be hosting the Olympics and a major concert at the same time. The Rangers finish off the Tronics, and while Nate was riding on top of one of them, he apparently had an idea. He thinks he can alter the programming of the Ultra Zord to work with the Beast X King Zord. Zoe says, "An Ultra Zord? That just might do the trick." Apparently she wasn't paying attention. They already had an Ultra Zord. They're just swapping out the... Sure, let's try it. Boxer Drone enters the arena, and the announcer calls it Delta Drone. The names were very hard to make out when the announcer was saying them, but thinking about it, it does seem like the announcer was referring to these things by their type names, Alpha Drone, Delta Drone, instead of their actual names. Oops. Apparently, anyway, this is just a 2-on-1 fight, the Racer Zord getting kicked and punched around and taking actual physical damage. However, despite that, it is apparently still at 98% MorphX levels and manages to vault off the ropes and kick both Gigadrones back. The Rangers arrive in their Zords and form the Beast X Ultra Zord. Okay, this is another slight writing error, as while they're forming it, they do refer to it as the Beast X King Ultra Zord, but when it's formed, they say Beast X Ultra Zord ready. I know last week I complained about the bow having too long of a name, but I do like naming to be distinct. They're not both just the Beast X Ultra Zord. Whatever this thing is called, its staff is specifically designed to break into this particular building because it's always good to have a specification like that on a staff that you're gonna be using all the time. Anyway, they attack the building and it turns into what Devin calls a giant Robotron. A giant Robotron, wow. What a strange and unusual concept. If only the show had a name for something like that. Oh, right, it does. It's called a Gigadrone. Wait, stop. Don't leave those comments just yet. Yes, technically speaking, a Robotron key was used on this building. I suppose, technically speaking, it is a giant Robotron. That just seems like such a weird distinction for them to make. I feel like the only reason they did so is because this one can talk when Gigadrones usually can't. Anyway, the Rangers quickly finish off the other Gigadrones, and it turns out that this is Boxer Tron. Wait, does that mean Boxer Drone, its own Gigadrone, was inside of it? Well, maybe not, because it also refers to itself as Punchertron in the same fight, and yikes, let's just move on. I wanted to specifically mention this gag just because it made me laugh, and the show hasn't been doing that very much lately. Whatever Tron says it can handle whatever the Rangers throw at it. So the Rangers throw the Racer Zord at it. They finish the thing off, and that's going to be a lot of scrap metal left around the city. Back at the base, Steel says the new formation is so powerful that they should just call it the Steel. Nate says that the Beast X King Ultra Zord will work just fine. So why didn't you call it that? Oh wait, you did. You called it both names and... Moving on. Ravi complains again that he missed weightlifting, and Nate says at least he got to see some of it. Apropos of absolutely nothing, Ravi realizes that he was being selfish and watching the games while the others were working. Steel says Devin was right all along. The Rangers work best as a team. The moral of the day. The Rangers work together off-screen, checking all of the other towers, and make it in time to see the karate finals. Shade Strike, Kia! Episode 21, Boxed In. Pros, very creative adaptation of weird Sentai episodes, new Ultra Zord formation is badass, and continuity nods. Cons, very sloppily written, Ravi leaps out of character, and an unnecessary moral. I was excited for this episode because of its unique premise. Unfortunately, it sucked on toast. Boxed In gets 2 shades out of 5. When the trailer for this episode dropped, I saw several fans, a few of them even contacting me directly, say that this episode was going to be adapting some very unusual episodes of Go Busters, and they were not kidding. We have a building becoming a Robotron, we have a Zord fight in a boxing ring. However, basing this all around the Pan-Global Games did make it have a weird sort of sense to it. It's almost weirdly buried in this episode, but the Beast X King Ultra Zord is very, very cool looking. I think it's just mainly because the Beast X King Zord is cooler looking than the Racer Zord overall, and it just gives it this edgier, pointier, kind of darker look to it. I'm definitely a fan. And while unfortunately they both led to some story issues of varying degrees, there are 2 pretty nice continuity nods in this episode. The first is of course the Pan-Global Games themselves, a nod all the way back to Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. They just seem weirdly forced into the story, especially the idea of how these games would be scheduled, all seemingly happening within one day so that the Rangers would miss most of them. The other is the Levi Weston poster, which was either left up from a concert sometime in the past, which you think they'd clean up for with the eyes of the world on them for the Olympics, or it's a really badly timed concert. Either way, Levi's still touring. That's nice, I guess. In this episode, we have a Robotron that calls itself 2 different names and also calls Gigadrones by their model name instead of their actual names. There's a really arbitrary designation between a giant Robotron and a Gigadrone. The Ultrazord is called 2 different names. Zoe doesn't seem to realize they already had an Ultrazord. This is just a different formation. Overall, this episode just had really rushed, sloppy writing from start to finish. I absolutely hate single episode lapses in character to fit a plot, and Ravi is absolutely guilty of that here. Mr. Rules, Mr. Serve the organization, wants to screw off work to go watch some weightlifting, something that we don't even know for him to be passionate about? I wanted to slap the boy when he asked the other Rangers if they even tried to beat the monster before calling him.
Shut up! As in, close your mouth and stop talking.
And the B side to that con, there's absolutely no development that leads to a resolution on that. Ravi just realizes he's being selfish and apologizes. It's just ham-handedly shoving a moral into the episode when it didn't need one. This episode had the potential to at least be very fun, if not serious and very plot-driven. It was another long Zord fight episode, so that was entertaining for me. Also, no sign of Ben and Betty, that's another perk. But it was just weird when it wasn't being incredibly sloppy, and much like the Halloween special it's apparently replacing, didn't really feel like it had a reason to exist. Unfortunately, Boxed In doesn't make the podium. Now, you might be thinking that 8 episodes of Beast Morphers 2.0 have aired this season, so now it's time for that dreaded hiatus, right? Well, actually, no. You see, like I said, this is episode 21, the sports special, so we still have the actual 8th episode to air. That's right, we're getting 9 episodes before the hiatus this year. So, let's take a peek at the 8th episode of Beast Morphers 2.0, Secret Struggle. Steel learns that Nate and Zoe have feelings for each other and tries to bring them together, despite the strict Grid Battle Force rules that forbid relationships between Power Rangers. That is going to do it for another Power Rangers Beast Morphers 2.0 episode review. Thank you, heroes, so much as always for watching. Now that the video's ended, you can let me know what you thought of this episode down in the comments below. And while you're down there, make sure you smack that thumbs up button and let me know that you enjoyed this video. Stay safe, make sure you're washing your hands, only leave the house if you absolutely need to, and until next time, heroes, may the power protect you. The Olympic torch relay would be going on right now, but of course that was also postponed, and I am so doing this again. And of course, unfortunately postponed by the viral pandemic. But now it's an... And if you would like... Oh hey, another... As the fight continues, and full credit to the folks over on Zoe and Ravi is that Levi Weston would be performing at the open... Anyway, the Rangers quickly finish off the, looking at the script. Well, maybe not, because it also refers to itself as Puncher Drone, not Puncher Drone, Puncher Tron. Cons, very sloppily written. Boxed In gets a 2 out of 5. In this episode, we have a Robotron that calls itself 2 different... And the B-side to that con, there is absolutely no resolution. You see, like I said, this was the 21st episode, the sports special. So let's take a look at the 8th episode of Beast Morphers 2.0, A Peek. Ugh.